Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 92 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy and COVID free. Thanks for everyone for tapping in today. We truly appreciate your support. Now, as you can see, we're live and direct in the AFTV studios here in North London, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. But before we delve into the show, let me kick things off with our now famous introductions. Joining me as always, my co-host, resident expert analyst and good friend, the likeable, actually make that the lovable, the lively, the loquacious, the lucid, the loyal, the logical, the lavish, the lion-hearted. He's long established, he's long standing, he's without doubt one of the leading lights in these YouTube streets. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, senior citizens, it is my pleasure to give you today Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV in-house. What are you saying, bro?
I'm saying, brother, I like that lion-hearted one, you know, Rastaman thing, you know, lion thing.
Lion.
Yo, but no, happy to be here, man. And yo, we've won a game of football. You know, I can't believe it. Arsenal.
You can tell by the energy in my voice, man.
It's a little different, isn't it?
Up,
yeah,
you know
man.
Yeah.
So happy to be here. Looking forward to a more positive show.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So listen, bro. Tell the people what you've been up to since the last show.
Same old, just making content. Obviously, watching the Champions League midweek, man, and I'm like, oh man, when are we gonna get back into that?
It could be a while.
I know we were getting beaten 5-1 by Bayern Munich, but you want to be a part of that competition, don't you? But
yeah.
It's a long journey back, I think.
Actually, talking of Bayern, I heard some crazy stat the other day that they've scored in every game for the last 7 seasons. Is that
Crazy,
true?
Isn't it? Is that in the Champions League or just in every?
No, I think it was everywhere.
It's crazy.
I'm sure the viewers will correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I heard. I don't know how
Wouldn't
true
surprise
that is.
me.
No, nor me, man. You know what I mean? Okay, did you catch the versus battle? We're both like music fans.
Yeah, well, I didn't watch all of
Fat
it.
Joe versus Ja Rule, for those who don't know what
I didn't watch it all. I wasn't as excited about it as the Locks Dipset one, but still good for hip hop. There's a lot of people saying Ja Rule won comfortably, I think, because he had more hits, but I thought Fat Joe held his own as well.
Yeah, to me, I thought it was close, could have gone either way. But I can see why people had Ja Rule, and I could see why some people would go for Fat Joe, but you're right, the majority seem to be going for Ja Rule. One thing I would say about that, it was a lot more
Close.
competitive than the Locks Dipset. But anyway, man, that was that. So, okay, moving on then. Now we've got our cursor introductions and all the small talk out the way. We're going to proceed with what we call our news and notes segment of the show. As most of you already know, the news and notes is where we look at matters pertaining to football or relevant issues in the game that we think are worthy of mention. So first up, news coming out of Arsenal that Jack Wilshere is formerly, would you say he's Arsenal legend? Maybe not quite legend.
Nah, not a legend, but I think he's very loved, isn't he, amongst the fan base.
And he was a quality player when he was playing for us back in the day, with Mikel Arteta, by the way. But yeah, the news is that he's had a bit of a lull in his career due to injuries and 1 or 2 other things. And we were hearing that he's suffering from some mental health issues due to him not getting any starts and injuries. And, you know, he's been through a bit of a rough time. But we're hearing he's training with Arsenal. That's the news that hit this week. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
I mean, I think it'll be great.
When I say with Arsenal, I should qualify that by saying it's for fitness at the moment. But some people are speculating that if it works out, maybe we could sign him up at some point. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
I mean, I think it'll be great to have him in the dressing room and around the training ground. In terms of signing Jack Wilshere, you know, as much as I love Jack Wilshere, I don't think it's realistic that Arsenal will sign him. He's been training.
His spot is not under threat.
Listen, I just think, whilst I love Jack, and I think every Arsenal fan feels the same way about Jack Wilshere, you can't rewind time. There's a reason he left Arsenal. There's a reason even that Bournemouth haven't kept him from last season. I believe he's been training in Serie B. And I don't think they've signed him. Apparently, I think it was to do with money more than his ability. But listen, get him in training, help him to get fit. I think it's good to have people like that around the training ground.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think Jack signing and playing and bossing our midfield, I think that's a bit of a fairy tale. I don't really expect it to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right there. I don't think he'll be playing at the top level anytime soon. But you know what? It's a positive that he's starting to get his career back on track. When I say back on track, you know,
at least training.
At least training, and hopefully things are more positive. And I would just say on that I've met Jack Wilshere a few times through a family friend, and he's a hell of a nice guy, man. When I met him a couple of times.
Yeah, I've met him as well,
so I wish him all the best. So,
definitely.
Yeah, man. Second item on our news and notes section. This concerns our old friend, Mr. Hector Bellerin, aka Hecky B, aka Hecky Bizzle, aka Hecky Mr. Save a Planet, who recently departed Arsenal for Real Betis. And he's been quoted recently as saying, and listen to this one, "I left Arsenal to join Real Betis to win things," which I must admit, well, it a wry smile to my face. But I just wanted, what was your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, first of all, I'm not surprised by the comment because Hector Bellerin, you know, he says a lot of things, but
he's
I think
himself,
we looked before, was it that Betis have won one trophy in the last decade, was it?
Yeah. As soon as I heard that remark, or I saw that remark, I thought, you know what, let me do a little cursory research. So I went on Wiki, found Real Betis' Wiki page, and I think they last won a Spanish second division title in 2014, so that's over 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So him saying he's going to Real Betis to win things, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
interesting.
Like window dressing to me.
Yeah, he's trying to impress the people over there, and so you got to say the right things. But it'll be interesting whether he comes back next summer or whether they take him on a permanent.
No, he's Real Betis.
You keep him, yeah.
you can keep
it depends how he does over there, man.
He'll make it a greener place. I'm sure they'll benefit
they play
from
in
his
green
presence.
as well, yeah.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
that's probably what. That's sitting down to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on again then quickly. Talking of quotes, Brentford striker Ivan Toney, who seems to be fast taking over from Troy Deeney as Arsenal's main troll.
Yeah.
Now listen, Ivan Toney seems to be a player of a lot of confidence, and somebody who has a lot to say for himself. I remember before the first game of the season when we played Brentford, he was talking himself up.
Yeah.
Talking himself about winning the Golden Boot. I was like, rah, this guy, you know what I mean? He clearly backs himself, which is not a bad thing. But following the game with Arsenal, in which, to be fair, he did have a good game, although he didn't score, I think he got man of the match.
He did,
people unanimously said he was the man of the match for that game, so fair play. But yeah, recently the man's been coming out with a few things, man. I can't see Arsenal winning anything anytime soon. And he also went on to say that he was surprised by Arsenal's lack of quality and that they need a striker.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure...
he's hinting at himself, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Aubameyang wouldn't be impressed by those remarks. But did Aubameyang play in that game? I don't think he did,
no, he didn't. He was out.
But yeah. So yeah, I just wondered, you're an ex-pro, what do you think of pros like running their mouths?
Do you know what? Listen, from a fan's point of view, I do like honesty from players and managers, because I think sometimes they turn into robots and just say the typical things, and you don't get anything out of that as a fan. So whilst I like the honesty, I still think that if you're new to a division, let's face it, Ivan Toney's done nothing in the Premier League. He's new to the division. I'm not sure it's going to help your cause publicly criticising a club. You're also hinting as if like, I wouldn't mind moving to Arsenal. Well, that's not going to help your case. I think sometimes as a player, let your football do the talking. And should you really be talking about other teams in the same division?
That's right.
So whilst I like the honesty in a sense, I do think he's maybe overstepped. Yeah. But listen, he's got to back up his talk now. If you're going to do that talking, you've got to perform. So
well, he scored 1 from 4. So he made a decent start. And like I said, when we played Brentford, he got man of the match. I didn't think he had a fantastic game, but he did well.
He was all right.
He did all right. And yeah, man, fair play. I mean, he wasn't the only one. I think Max Aarons said something about Arsenal recently.
And the
Norwich fullback following the game last week. He said it's slightly different with him. He was saying that he could feel the tension.
In the stadium.
In the stadium and amongst the players.
Yeah.
And he also went on to say that he thought it was an opportunity lost because he thought Arsenal were there for the taking.
People think we're like food right now.
Yeah, I mean, people, when fans say certain things, you get people, this and that. I mean, the players are telling you, man, what they think of Arsenal right now. And it's not all complimentary. But anyway, okay. Another news and note item, and we spoke about this last week. Leno seems to be out of favour. Ramsdale played in that game, and he kept a clean sheet, obviously. And a lot of people, he's played 2 games now, the game against West Brom and the game against Norwich, and he seems to have impressed a few people.
Yeah.
And people are saying, what with Leno previously making remarks like he might be looking to get away, Ramsdale should be the first choice. Now I'm hearing that Leno could be back for this week's game, but what's your thoughts on the goalkeeping situation? Seems to be a big conversation at the moment.
I think first of all, Ramsdale was impressive, especially with his footwork, which is what Arteta said he wants a ball-playing goalkeeper. I still reserve judgment on him a little bit because Norwich had 1 shot on target. It was straight at him. I'll judge him more, if he was to play against Burnley, that's another test because they'll put crosses in, they'll be physical. Obviously, we play Spurs in the derby next week, so what I've seen of Ramsdale so far, I've been pleasantly surprised. I think he looks good. And I think the fans are connecting with him because you feel like he really wants to be at Arsenal. He wants to take this opportunity. Where with Leno, it's almost as if he's doing us a favour. And we've still got the hang-up of, well, Martinez went, we kept you, and now a year later you're saying you want to leave. It doesn't look good, does it? Yeah. So, listen, for me, I would rather play Ramsdale because this is a guy we've just signed that wants to be here, that wants to prove himself, rather than Leno with one eye on a move next summer. So give Ramsdale an opportunity. They paid big money for him.
I've got to say I agree with that. If you've got a player that's talking about, possibly looking elsewhere, and you got a guy in for, was it 20 odd million?
24 million, yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to have a look at him and see what happens, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play. And he's done well when he's coming, so we'll see what happens. Okay. Moving on then to one of our regular weekly features, our review of Arsenal's last game since our last show. And that was last weekend, Arsenal at home to Norwich. So let me set the scene for this game, man. Before the game, fans were actually calling this a relegation dogfight, a relegation 6-pointer. Arsenal came into this game on the back of some terrible form, man. 3 games, 3 losses, no goals, bottom of the Premier League. Worst ever start in Arsenal's Premier League history. But as we said, there were some mitigating circumstances to that bad form, notably injuries to key players, the COVID outbreak. And let's face it, I mean, of those 3 games, yes, we had the horror show against Brentford, but we played Chelsea and Man City after that. No easy task, especially for a team that was, going through problems with injuries and stuff like that. So there are always going to be very hard games. Yes, we got spanked by City and it was poor, but I would say there are some mitigations. And let's be honest, man, Norwich are not at Chelsea or City's level. So we came into this game, it was a must-win game. Norwich, like I said, if you were going to choose an opponent,
this was the team you wanted to play.
Exactly, yeah. As for the game itself, we had a lot of possession. It was a bit of a scrappy game, to be honest. We got that tapping goal from Aubameyang. We well won it, although we did at the end look a little bit, would I say, less than convincing towards the end.
They had a few chances.
Yeah, they did. But I think we registered something like 30 shots on goal. Yeah. Which I must admit, when I heard that stat, I was a little bit surprised.
It didn't seem like it. Yeah.
We had the majority of the possession. Positives, players that played well. I got Aubameyang, I thought he had a decent game. What do you think?
He worked hard. I felt he could have scored more than one, but listen, if a striker scores and you win the game, then you've got to be happy with that,
I thought Gabriel looked good. He pocketed Pookie, didn't he?
Very good. And that block, he did a good block at the end as well. I like Gabriel. He was good.
Maitland-Niles, I thought he was decent.
He was okay. I think he's got to move the ball a little bit quicker. But it was good to see him back in the fold after all the issues he's had off the pitch.
We spoke about Ramsdale. He didn't do anything wrong.
No,
there was a good moment for him. The ball at his feet when he
took it past him.
That was a... Samuel Okongo, I thought he was positive. I was surprised when he got took off, actually.
Yeah. Apparently he had a little knock the week before with Belgium, so I think they were protecting him, but yeah.
The new guy, Tomiyasu,
Yeah.
He looked good, didn't he? Especially in the first half. I think he tired a little bit in the second, which is understandable.
Yeah, I liked the way he was very energetic. I think he won a lot of headers, which we don't usually win headers at fullback. But again, he's going to have bigger tests in the next few weeks. But
I thought Ben White was decent. I think him and Gabriel, the first time we got a chance to look at those two together. I mean, like I said, I've got to qualify it by saying
it's Norwich.
That they were up against Norwich and Pookie. There's going to be stiffer tests, but you know, you've got to judge them on what we saw, and they look fairly comfortable together. So a win is a win, especially after the disastrous start that we had. But what's your thoughts overall on the game?
I mean, listen, I think the result was more important than the performance, because you've just got to get 3 points and tick it off. As I said, it's not for me a game that we'll look back on in 6 months and go, let me go and watch the highlights of that game. You know, you're not going to. One thing that I thought was great was I thought the fans really stuck by the team. You know, 0-0 at half time, it would have been easy for them to start booing and it's all going wrong. I think they stuck by them. And
good point.
It wasn't a great performance, I've got to admit. I think if that was against better opposition, you know, it could have been a bit tricky, but we did miss a few chances towards the end. I thought Smith Rowe should have scored. We had a few opportunities where we could have made it look a little bit more comfortable, but I just think win the game and then build for the next one. That's all it really was. And I'm so glad Aubameyang got the goal, because
I was pleased.
We've said many times, you know, we defend Aubameyang a lot. I think if Arsenal are going to do anything this season, he needs to be scoring goals.
Absolutely.
You could see the relief when he scored as well. So,
the way he celebrated that 1 yard tapping.
That 1 yard, listen, you don't get any more for a tap-in than you do for a 30-yarder, you know what I mean?
Ronaldo got a tap-in, that first one, and the crowd went crazy and everyone went mad. So.
Listen, it was an important win, but I still think we're going to have to improve against better opposition.
Yeah, I would say that's an accurate assessment. I mean, listen, man, a win is to be welcomed. Whether it was a convincing performance, that was another matter. But at the end of the day, man, a win is a win is a win. So do you think that Aubameyang's tapping effectively saved the manager's job? Are you one of those guys?
Yeah, no, I think, listen, I don't think they would have sacked him if they'd have drew that game 0-0. I just think they're going to stick by him for the time being. But I think the fans would have exploded if we drew that game, because I've got to be honest, without being disrespectful, Norwich are poor. They are poor. I'll be shocked if they don't finish bottom of the league. You know, I thought Max Aaron's actually looked quite good for them at right back. But I don't see them doing anything in the Premier League. You know, they got relegated with Pookie. They come back up with Pookie. They've sold Buendia. They had Campbell on the bench, which I couldn't.
That was strange.
Gilmore was on the bench, who they got on loan from Chelsea.
I didn't know whether it was Todd Cantwell or Bo Derek.
I don't know what they was doing.
Some of the older viewers will
know about that. But no, I think. It would have been nice to see Arsenal score 3 or 4, you know. But listen, like I said, a win's a win, clean sheet as well.
Okay then. So a win is a win is a win, like we said. Moving on again to another one of our regular features, our preview of Arsenal's next game, or as we like to call it, Ops of the Week. So this weekend, another massive game away to Burnley. Now, Burnley are likely to be a much more different proposition to Norwich. What can I say about Burnley? Big players, strong, physical, committed, resilient, well coached. I mean, the manager's got them playing a certain way, Sean Dyche, and he's done well for the club over the years. They've got a small ground, the fans will be up for it. But looking at the form guide, Burnley are not doing that well this season. I've got some receipts here, man. They played 4, haven't won in the Premier League. They've drawn 1, which is at home to Leeds, and they've lost 3, Brighton, Liverpool and Everton. So they haven't made the best of starts either. Arsenal, we've played 4, we won 1, the Norwich game. As I said earlier, we lost 3 games, Brentford, Chelsea, City. So, you know, the stage is set, man. Last week, as we said, Gabriel and Ben White pretty much pocketed and bullied Pookie, but can they do the same thing to Chris Wood this week? Because we know it's going to be a totally different proposition. It's going to be long balls going in, physical, aerial battles. What do you think, bro?
This will be a much more difficult game. One thing I will say though, I mean, I've seen Burnley a couple of times this season. I think they're going to have a long season. I feel like Sean Dyche has kind of squeezed everything he can out of that team, and they don't really back him in the transfer market. You feel like you're seeing the same Burnley team every season. It's the same sort of players. I think the first goal will be very important. Right. I think if we can go there, score for, well, yeah, if there is a goal, to be fair. But if we can score first, quiet down their fans, their confidence is low as well. You know, I'm hoping then we can, you know, take control of the game. Obviously, if they score and the crowd are very lively, I have to admit, you know, I've been to a lot of grounds in the Premier League. Burnley is not the nicest of grounds to go to, man.
It's not the most pleasant.
It's not the most pleasant, and you know. But listen, I think we've got to win this game. I think we've got to win. You know, I know we're looking ahead here, but the fact we play Tottenham the week after, Tottenham have just lost to Palace. Big up Patrick Vieira, by the way. What a weekend that was.
Yeah, I was made up for him.
I love that.
Yeah.
They've got Chelsea this week, Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? If we can beat Burnley, they get a difficult result against Chelsea, and then we play them next week at home. It changes the narrative a lot. So I think this is a must-win game for Arsenal, and I think we've got to go there and be positive and try and beat them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a difficult day. I mean, you know what you're going to get with Burnley. It's quite hostile territory.
Yeah.
I mean, straight away, I can see what's going to happen. The players are going to take the knee. They're going to boo that. Every Arsenal player's touch is going to get booed. You know, and the challenge is going to go in, and the fans are going to be making their presence felt. So it's definitely one of those challenges where the players are going to have to be up for it.
Yeah.
Not just physically, but mentally as well. And like I said, Burnley have made a poor start, so they need the win.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be proper game.
So it'll be a
proper
scrap,
game.
Yeah.
Tell the people, bro, what type of team would you like to see?
I would probably, do you know what? I would play the same team that he played. I would just change Ainsley for Thomas Partey.
That's take Thomas Partey out of it.
Well, no, Thomas Partey was on the bench, wasn't he, against Norwich? Yeah. So they played Ainsley.
Oh, I see. Right.
You know what I mean? He played Ainsley and Sambi in the middle. I would take Ainsley out and bring Partey in, because I think that understanding of midfield, that physical presence. I mean, Partey is our best midfielder by far.
Although I have to say, physicality is not something that Ainsley Maitland-Niles struggle with. I mean, he's not imposing. He's fairly small stature, but I've seen this guy play a number of times, man. He's strong, solid dude.
Yeah,
he's physical.
But Partey is.
But yeah, I mean,
Partey quality is a different.
Yeah, it's a different type.
So I would probably go with the same team. I'd go Pepe and Saka out wide. Play Tierney and Tomiyasu.
You'd start with Tomiyasu,
I'd start him, yeah. Well, listen, we've signed him for nearly 20 million. But our other right-backs have all tried and kind of failed. So, and he's a big guy. And listen, if they're putting crosses into Chris Wood and Barnes, we're going to need height in there. So, and then
actually, Tomiyasu did impress me in that regard. His energy levels were good. He looked physically up for it.
Yeah.
There was a couple of 50-50s that I saw him win, and the crowd were, you know what I mean? Cheering him on. So I think, that's the type of game that I think he'll relish.
Yeah.
It'll certainly be a good introduction to the Premier League for him. Because I think Norwich, as we keep saying, and we're trying not to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, if you were to choose an opponent that you wanted to play in that game, Norwich would have been it. And that's just the plain truth of the matter. But this week is very, very different.
Very, yeah.
I saw a couple of tackles that some of the Burnley players put in their game. Everton, and they're pretty tasty. Tarkowski in particular.
Yeah.
Some would argue he should have got sent off for that challenge, given some of the other challenges that people have been dismissed for. So, yeah, man. Sorry, who else would you?
And do you know what? I would play Ramsdale in goal.
You would?
Yeah, I would. And especially because Leno, crosses. I don't think he's great at coming for crosses. I remember last year against Burnley, actually, Leno gives the ball to Xhaka. Xhaka kicked it straight at Chris Wood, do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, Xhaka's suspended again, so,
I know you're saddened about that, yeah?
I want to see Sambi Lokonga and Partey build that partnership. Ben White and Gabriel build that as well. Let Pepe and Tomiyasu build that, and Tierney and Saka, and then you've got Ober at the top. I think that team can do something if you allow it time to build. So
I think Tomiyasu, that partnership with Pepe, that could bear fruit, because I think Pepe would like that extra layer of protection that Tomiyasu gives him.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu's got the energy and he's got a certain physicality about him. And I think that helps Pepe, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although we've got to see it materialise. But I think from what I've seen, that could be the basis of a good partnership. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's what you've got to do. I don't think we've built enough partnerships in this team. We're always chopping and changing, and so I think I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Do you think Lacazette will be featuring at any point?
I think he'll be on the bench again.
Yeah.
I think with Lacazette, you will see Lacazette on the bench a bit more this year. I just think Arteta, from what we're hearing, they're not going to offer him a deal. Contract runs out in a year. He'll still play. He's still a quality player to use, but I just think they're going to be planning without him being there now.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Aubameyang's the main man, but Lacazette probably will feature at some point.
Yeah, his hold-up player, especially towards the end.
Good. Again, he's one that's not particularly physically imposing, but I've noticed he's very strong, holds the ball up well, especially for a guy of 5'8", 5'9" max. Yeah. So I would imagine he's going to figure at some point. What kind of formation? How would you go with the tactics?
Yeah, I think you just go with that 4-2-3-1 again. 4 at the back. You got your two midfielders in front, Partey and Lokonga, Odegaard in the 10, Pepe and Saka, and Aubameyang up front. Yeah. And,
okay.
Listen, do you know what? I'm not off there. I'm confident we're going to win.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your prediction?
No, I think we're going to beat them. I'm going for. Do you know what? I was going to say 2-0, but then I think Burnley will put so many crosses in. Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go for 2-0, yeah. So, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, so it's not
clean sheets in a row.
I'm going to go for a clean sheet, man. I think Gabriel and Ben White, I think if we score first, I think Burnley's heads will drop, and I think they've.
Interesting.
I mean, listen, it could come back to bite me. They might put a cross in, but I think we're going to beat them. Yeah, I'm going for a 2-0 win.
Yeah, it's good to see that you're confident.
Yeah, man. Listen, they can't always be. That Norwich wins.
I mean, listen, what do you make of that? I mean, like some people, it was interesting, the narrative after that game, because we got the win.
Yeah.
And my first thoughts were, we got the win, but I wasn't totally convinced by the performance. But then there were a lot of other fans saying, listen, man, I thought the performance was fine. It wasn't the kind of performance that was overly impressive, but, we controlled the game, we got the win, and that's that.
No, do you know what? The performance wasn't bad. It's just, I think if we'd have finished our chances, if we'd have won 2 or 3-0, we'd have said that was comfortable. But because it's 1-0, the way the goal came about, I mean, it was as scrappy as anything. And then the fact at the end that, clearances, and it feels like you're hanging on. So by the time the game finishes, you're going, boy, that was underwhelming. So I think, look, I don't think the performance was great. I've got to be honest. Like I said, if that was anybody 5 or 6 places higher than Norwich, I think that could have been sticky for us. So.
I think there's a couple of elements at play here. I think before the game, most people, and I was guilty of this as well, and I'm pretty sure you was on the show last week, we were predicting things like 3-0.
Yeah, I said 3-0, yeah.
And I think you said 3-0. I think I said something like by at least 2 clear goals. Yeah. So we were, I don't know if we were being arrogant or we were just trying to be honest with ourselves, but we was predicting a clear, comfortable, resounding even win.
Yeah.
And when that didn't materialise, there was that slight feeling of disappointment. But, at the end of the day, we got the win, and really, should we be just thankful for that?
I think
we did keep a clean sheet as well. Let's be honest, man, Norwich didn't really look like scoring, did they?
No.
I mean, I say that, there was a couple of hairy moments at the end, but then that could have been because we were only 1-0 up and you're waiting for the final whistle to blow. Yeah. If Norwich had got anything out of that game, I think that would have been a bit of a travesty, to be honest.
Oh, it would have.
But this game is different because although Burnley are not playing that well,
it's a much
I do think the challenge is a much tougher challenge than the one last week.
What's your prediction, Mark?
My prediction, right. Enough waffle from me. Yeah, man, I'm going for the win. I'm confident, and I'm genuinely confident that I think confidence levels would have gone up. And I think the fact that we kept a clean sheet and got the win gives a bit more energy going into this game. We've got to go out there and say it with our chest a little bit, though. I don't want us to go out there and be worried too much about that. No, we've got to go for it without being reckless or stupid. But yeah, man, I think if we can do that, stick to the game plan, I'm saying 2-1, bro.
2-1.
2-1. I think Burnley probably will score on the balance of probability. One of them long balls in the box, chaos gets created.
Worry,
We might even spend too much time looking at Chris Wood and somebody else, or what's the other guy? Barnes. He might nip in and get one, but I think we will see enough of the ball and create enough chances and get a 2-1 win.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. I'm sure the Arsenal fans looking at this will take that as well. But yeah, man, I mean, with regards to the team, I'm pretty much in agreement with what you said there. Partey needs to come back in. I'd have Sam be partnering him, Samuel Lukongo, who's looked good. Some people are saying that he's still a little inexperienced, still new to the league, might go with another option. Some people are even saying your mate Ozil Nenny might get a look.
I think they're saying he's not fully fit for this game though.
Oh really?
Yeah, he wasn't on the bench against Norwich. I saw that he might not be available, so I think they'll have to go Sambi and Partey anyway, but I think that's our best midfield.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm saying
Definitely.
that. What about when Granit comes back?
No, you know my opinion on Granit, mate.
Yeah, we do.
You know
so we don't need to go there for now. But listen, man, you've gone, just for the record, 2-0.
2-0 I'm going.
Curtis is going 2-0.
2-0.
I'm going 2-1. We're both going for the Arsenal win. I'm pretty sure most of the guys watching this, and girls watching this show, would agree that Arsenal are going to get a result. We need the result. So yeah, man, thanks. And now we're coming to the end of the show.
Yes.
Once again, you've come in and you've given your honest and forthright opinions, so thanks for you for doing that. Thanks to you all out there for tapping in and watching. We truly appreciate your support. Let us know what you think, man. Send us your comments about what we spoke today. Were you convinced by Arsenal's performance against Norwich last week? Were you just happy with the win? Do you think Arsenal turned the corner? Or do you consider it as a fairly average performance against a fairly weak team? Let us know what you think. But whatever you do, let us know. Keep tapping in. Smash the like button. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Take care of yourselves. Keep healthy. Keep safe. Keep COVID free. And we catch you all again next week. I'm out.